For Unhinged, I was working on the art team for the first time, which was pretty cool for me, having been on tech and design teams previously. So this is my first experience really doing artwork for an art-heavy game. Um, I worked on everything from large models like the gardener's shed and the ski lift models to things as small as rocks and candles. Um, One of my favorite pieces that I did for this game was the gardener's shed. It was one of the more detailed ones I did, and it was pretty cool because it's one of the only pieces modeled in Maya that the player can actually go inside and kind of look around and find things inside of the model itself, besides Spencer's mausoleum. Um, so it was actually really fun to make, building the framework and the furnishings that go inside it, the workbench and the shelving units. I also did the textures for this, and I think they came out looking pretty good. So I'm pretty excited about that piece in particular. One of the other big pieces I did for Unhinged was the ski lift set in the second level. I started off doing the ski lift seat, which actually went through a couple iterations. The first model did not take textures well, so I had to remodel that, which is why the textured image you see looks a little bit different than the untextured model. But I made three pieces for this set. I made the bull wheel, which is the base where the cable kind of changes directions, the seat itself, and the standard tower that kind of fills in the middle and holds the cables up. Um, One of the more detailed models that I made for this game, and I'm pretty happy with the way it came out. Unfortunately, the design team did not place these in game quite right, but the effect seems to be passable. Um, One of the other bigger pieces I did was the ski lodge right next to the ski lift. This model came out all right. I also did the textures for that and the ski lift. But the ski lodge came out okay. It was kind of one of the more rushed models. I had just finished working on the ski lift, and Kelly came to me and said, "We need the ski lodge ASAP." So I kind of just picked it up. Everyone else was working on other stuff. I only had a day or two to work on it, not too many hours between those days. But I finished it off, got a texture on it, and eventually redid the texture for RTM. But that one came out okay. Not my favorite model. Beyond that, most of the models I did were smaller ones. There's the sign for the engineering building, the push lever that's in the catacombs to open up the gate originally. I think it ended up lowering the water levels in the end. Um, there's a ladder that was actually part of the original ski lift tower, the bed and nightstand and lamp for the final scene where you find out Scott is actually in a mental institute. There's a candle that was for the graveyard and catacomb levels. After that, there are these wall segments that I made after the original vertical slice presentation, where our catacombs was this barren maze of straight long hallways with awful textures. I kind of took it upon myself to make some wall segments to spruce up that environment a little bit. They ended up not going into game as the catacombs changed pretty drastically. But I just wanted to throw these pieces in there just to have them. Then I also made a generic tombstone model that was used in the graveyard, as well as some small models for rocks that would be placed around the environment. Um, and then there's a circular gate that was used for an underwater section in the catacombs, and a curved fence that was used in the graveyard, as well as a manhole cover, which I don't know if it was actually ever shown in one of our playthroughs during our presentations, but when you exit the sewer, that manhole cover should be there. Overall, this was a pretty fun project for me. It was definitely a learning experience, being my first time really working as an artist for a game that has more than pretty crappy graphics. Um, There were definitely a lot of obstacles, a lot of things I needed to learn along the way, kind of brush up my modeling skills as well. Experimented with Mudbox a little bit, some new texturing tools that Tony showed me. And overall, it was pretty enjoyable. There were definitely some periods where we were very rushed for time, and there were quite a few obstacles that, as a group, we just kind of could not overcome, which definitely showed in our RTM presentation. But overall, it was a fun experience. I definitely enjoyed working as an artist for this, and some of the pieces that I got to make were pretty fun to work on.